Hello and welcome back to CBR MTG. My name is Angus Mackay. I'm joined here by Aaron Cornish.
Hello.
We are playing Burn versus Burn, so I'm sure you can imagine that this will not be a very long match.
We call this the early lunch match.
That's right. The launch bracket. Now yours is slightly the stock standard list. Do you want to just run through it for people who aren't aware of the list?
Yeah, so it's noted as red, white, burn, which is true for the main board. I do splash green for Destructive Revelry inside, but it is Lightning Bolts, Lava Spikes, Rift Bolts, Boros Charms, Lightning Helix, Swiss Spears, Goblin Guides, Eidolons.
Okay.
That's the entire deck.
Yep. So very similar to a lot of red deck wins, where it's just mostly just good red cards, but you're splashing for, well, not really a splash. You're putting white in for Lightning Helix, and then as you said, Lightning Helix and Boros Charm, and then it leaves you open to sort of Path to Exile on the board against some other interesting matchups. And I see there's a Deflective Palm in your board as well, which is good for Tron, notably.
Yes, and other things where my 3 points of damage won't remove the creature.
That'll do it, yeah. So, and on Wufeng's side, it's a red-black variant. Now, this is sort of still in its brewing stages, but some people swear by it. It uses the interaction between claim to fame from Hour of Devastation or Armament Kit and Vexing Devil. So Vexing Devil says when it enters the battlefield, any opponent can pay 4 life. If they do, sacrifice Vexing Devil, and then Claim to Fame gets it back out of the graveyard using its claim portion of the spell, which says 1 black, return target creature card with converted mana cost 2 or less from the graveyard to the battlefield. So it's basically a 1-2 punch, deal you 8 damage.
Yeah.
It's a very good spell.
I would like to point out what happened there was I played a Goblin Guide, he bolted the Goblin Guide, so I played a Goblin Guide.
That's how you know
We're serious here.
We're serious here, that's right. So we'll see what happens.
And we get an Eidolon.
Now, how do you feel about Eidolon in the mirror?
It's a fantastic card. It just hurts, like...
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not much else to say about that besides... I was just thinking because, like, you're both playing everything under 3 mana.
Yeah.
So it's hitting you every time, but I guess there's the opportunity for... there's an opportunity to attack as well, which gives a little bit of an extra edge for the player.
Yes, but the Eidolon did eat a Searing Blaze. For those who don't know, it deals 1 damage to target creature and 1 damage to that creature's controller. And then if you have a landfall trigger, if a land entered the battlefield the turn you cast it, it deals 3 and 3 instead.
Okay. So everything moved a little bit faster than I expected. Did you win that one?
I did. I Boros Charmed him, leaving an attack from the Goblin Guide there.
Okay. For lethal.
Yeah.
That's the thing about these burn players. They basically just say what they're going to do. And speaking of which, here's you bringing in the 2 core Firewalkers from your board, which is protection from red.
And whenever a red spell is cast, you gain a life.
Oh my god, so relevant.
Yeah.
I was seeing Deflective Palm come in as well. You're just really showing no shame to your opponent who's trying to keep his sideboard choices hidden.
We were having a bit of a cheeky giggle about it, and I just thought, why not?
Yeah, exactly. No, that's completely fair. So we don't have access to Wufeng's sideboard, unfortunately, but is the only notable sort of main board things that you should be aware of is as I said before, the Vexing Devil and Claim to Fame. And there's also 4 Bump in the Night, which is a 1 mana black spell sorcery that target opponent loses 3 life, but has flashback for 5 and a red. So I guess it gives you a little bit of reach. It's never bad to be flooded anymore, I guess, because you get that 1 extra spell.
And God forbid if the game ever goes long, you have something in the vault.
Yeah.
The worst thing about playing Burn, and I played Burn for a while now, is some matchups, if your opponent can drag you out, you get to a point where they're on 3-4 life and you're top decking lands or creatures that get met by removal or blockers. So just having that sitting there and going, all right, I can use this at any time.
Yeah.
is pretty good.
Yeah, I can imagine. I think I saw him thumb towards an ensnaring bridge. I'm not 100% sure if he put it in his deck, but an interesting choice for sure. I guess you could kind of change the way that you play if you decide to take out 3 creatures and replace them with ensnaring bridges.
Yeah.
What do you think about that line?
I don't like ensnaring bridge against a deck that what's mine run? I run 12 creatures.
Okay.
Well, no, 13 creatures because I do have a Grim Lavamancer. Yeah, I'm not.
Not really into that idea.
Yeah, just
Probably reasonable. Yeah, it's like it stops 8. It stops 8 creatures or whatever, but it's like everything else will deal damage. And
Yeah.
I think honestly in this matchup you're just trying to go faster than your opponent.
Yeah.
Like he's already got the benefit of being on the play. If he brought in the ensnaring bridge, it might hinder him somewhat because he could have it in his hand, but it could just be the last 3 points of damage that kills him.
Yeah.
That kills you.
And the other thing to consider as well, there are in my list, there's something like 28 spells that do 3 or more damage. And yeah, I can sit back on those. I don't remember what my hand was for this starting game, but I remember it was okay.
Yeah.
And also boarding in Core Firewalker as well.
I think that will really give you an edge against your opponent.
I made the wrong choice.
That's fine. Sometimes with these aggro decks, you kind of just throw cards at the table and see what happens. So we saw Wufeng lead off with the Vexing Devil, and you just immediately deciding to take the 4 damage. Almost definitely decent.
Yeah,
like,
I know
hit.
I can bolt it.
Yep.
But the likelihood of him getting another one is like what's 3 in 52 at that point.
Yeah, sure.
So I'd have to get super unlucky for that to be extremely relevant for me.
Seems probably fair enough.
And my Goblin Guide always helps out the opponent.
Yeah, that's right. It's always your Goblin Guide that's broken. The other ones work very well.
Yeah.
We're seeing aggressive starts on both ends. Here's our first. This is Collective Brutality.
Collective Brutality. That is one that is so good against burn.
Yeah, coming out of the board as well. I mean, this is he could. All right, well, this is fantastic for him. Now he's taking this Boros Charm, which is like it's usually just 4 damage, right? You don't usually use the other modes. Collective Brutality seems pretty good in this matchup.
I'm leaving it open for him as well because I'm a nice guy.
Nice guy, yeah, that's right. The game, I mean, you'll have no hand in 2 seconds anyway, so there's not a huge amount of point.
And also remembering triggers for him too.
Which is shows your lantern skill playing off, just always knowing when to reveal the top card of your opponent's library. Now, it seems to be that Wufeng's a bit stuck for mana.
Yes.
Hopefully this won't be too much of a hindrance for him. We do see a bump in the night, which is probably just going to pass out now.
And he will take another 2 from Eidolon.
Oof.
So
there's damage going from all different directions here.
Yeah.
I'm seeing the trade-off here on... is it going to be a trade?
I don't remember.
I mean, I guess...
Oh, yeah, no, because I have the other one in hand, so I was happy to throw it under the bus. He's tapped out.
Soak up a couple of points of damage.
Yeah. At this point, I'm on 5, he's on 8. Being on 5 against burn, that's 2 bolts.
Also, like, the maths didn't really work out for him in that scenario because he dealt 3 damage to you, but it cost him 4. So with the Monastery Swift Spear coming down and the bump in the night, both shocking him for 2. So like, didn't really work out too well for him, unfortunately. But like, it's good to get the Swift Spear on the table as fast as possible anyway.
Yeah. I don't disagree with how he's played this matchup.
Okay.
It's really hard, like when you've got a deck that's in brewing and then you come up to a deck that's been played for months.
Refined, yeah.
And this is like my sole go-to deck.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And I mean, you're still going toe-to-toe. I mean, with one land short as well, like, he seems to be going fine. Both of you sort of hinge on those next few spells to kind of get you through. I think I see a Lightning Helix in your hand right now, which could change everything as well. We'll see where we're going with this. This might be a Lightning Helix to the Swift Spear. Also, just the 3 life might be fine. You could possibly just go to Dome and take the damage.
Yeah, we are discussing here what he's eventually going to do. He's claiming and then faming.
Yeah.
Oh no, claiming and then playing the Vexing Devil.
Yeah,
and we did get a little bit confusing there.
Yeah.
But
yeah, it did look like that he was using its Aftermath on the Mastery Swift Spear.
Yeah.
But we did not have one in the graveyard to begin with, so that makes more sense.
And there was the Boros Charm he saw before. And a Fist Bump too.
Yeah, and you're offering up the hand there.
Yeah.
In a more stylish way than most. But yeah, so we thought we might chuck in this one in our usual group of videos just because it's always interesting to see the mirror match, especially when one of them's sort of like a new up-and-coming version of a well-established deck.
Yeah.
But there was a lot of burn spells being flung today.
Yes.
And it did not take very long to go through.
Yeah. One thing I did say to him, within the burn mirrors, there are 2 known things.
Yep.
The first person to resolve an Eidolon usually wins.
Okay.
And the first person to resolve a Core Firewalker usually wins.
Interesting.
Yeah. That 1 point of life per burn spell is super relevant.
Mm-hmm.
And that 2 damage per every CMC 3 or less is also super relevant.
Yeah.
And he did board in that Ensnaring Bridge.
Okay. For someone who's been playing Burn for, a reasonable amount of time, how would you compare the 2, the red-white Burn and the red-black Burn?
I might be a little bit biased towards the red-white Burn.
Sure.
I think it has a much better package. It has the availability of life gain, Path to Exile, Rest in Peace is another big one. Stony Silence is huge.
Yeah, no kidding.
And those become relevant for a super huge amount of matchups. Stony Silence, Lantern Affinity,
Yep.
Rest in Peace, Living End, and Reanimator.
Mm-hmm.
Within...
That's true. You do miss out on a lot by not being able to play white.
Yeah.
And it seems that the black that he's brought in... the collective brutality is really good.
Yes.
But it also costs you a card, which sometimes can be pretty bad. Like if you get rid of he did get rid of a land in that instance, but it was kind of a bit iffy about what we were doing with that.
We did compare notes on always boarding out Rift Bolt though. It's a good card game 1 and it's usually a horrible card game 2.
Can you maybe elaborate on that a little bit? It's still to me as a novice, it seems that it's 1 mana for a 3 CMC spell, right?
Yeah.
For a 3 damage spell.
But the 3 damage spell at sorcery speed, it also depends on the matchup. If you're versing a Chalice matchup,
Mm-hmm.
Then you keep it in because they don't expect the 3 mana on the stack.
Yeah.
And they Chalice 1 and 2. But for me, it's super slow. It's 1 mana sorcery speed. It's 3 mana sorcery speed.
Sure. You're just a turn behind.
Yeah, so it comes out for Deflecting Palm or Path.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sounds reasonable. Well, thank you so much for joining me, Aaron.
That's all good. Thanks for having me.
It's my absolute pleasure. Thank you again to our viewers. Please like and subscribe and leave any comments below on how you felt the match went. Thanks a lot.